Hello friends. In Planet Earth Dating, it's Wednesday, November 4th, 2015. Ra here, in the Jamie-Body-Mind and in the Lynn-Body-Mind. Other team members and other aspects of the physical dimension, all of us in the physical dimension, and in the subatomic layers of the physical dimension from the perspective of the spirit world viewers. For much of today, we've been receiving messages about everyone in their own right place. But we don't intend to skew the session in any way, so we'll be going with a foundational assignment to do what is ours to do in all dimensions right now, to meet the series of nested deadlines that begin on November 15th, 2015, and to provide a collective restart by January 17th, 2017. And with that, it begins.
My attention is being brought to what we were working with earlier today about the confusions about studies in business with regard to centralization and decentralization. Some studies in business literature show that centralization works, that a shift to centralization improves performance of an organization.
That's true.
Other studies show that a shift to more decentralized operations improves the effectiveness of an organization. And when we look at all of this and say, oh, this is fascinating, some studies show one thing, other studies show another thing, we become curious, consider what's really going on. We see what's happening is that change matters, mixing it up matters.
That's
and
true.
So that's what we've been working with this morning. And it's true that we have very few tools to work with, and with regard to soul energy and energetic presence is almost the only effective tool we have when someone is stuck, is to move him or her to another location, to another job.
That's true.
Mixing it up then becomes very important. And so, for example, in this morning's shuffle of workstations where Glenn is moving from thing 1 to thing 2,
yes,
and Asha is moving from thing 2 to thing 1,
that's true,
and Asha is replacing Black Wolf in the breaking things so as to inspire thing 1 to live his destiny role.
That's true.
And Black Wolf is stepping back into the running cables so as to keep some modicum of truth flowing so that the souls don't just get knocked out by poison gas.
That's true.
And he's running cables. All of those changes have multiple goals. Yes, to get people where they can be most effective right now, to help them get unstuck and to keep the projects moving forward.
That's true.
But what we really see is that every person is unique and every situation is unique. And so for me, Ra, who is the voice speaking out of both bodies right now,
yes, it's true.
There has been an issue of almost panic over the last several days because the deadlines are upon us.
Yes.
We're 11 days away from the first deadline.
That's true.
And quite clearly it will take a divine miracle to accomplish the goals by the assigned deadline.
That's true.
However, to keep an attitude of experimentation about this can help an awful lot, and I simply need to remember we're going to learn something. We're going to learn whether or not divine miracles are still able to be delivered through the delivery system. If they are, and we have done what is ours to do in order to qualify, quote unquote, for delivery of a divine miracle, then one will be delivered.
That's true.
Now, if we don't do our part, then that's not a real experiment.
No.
So the assignment actually is to throw our hearts into it, to do it like we mean it, to do it like our hair's on fire. I wish we could use the phrase, to do our very best, but unfortunately that's been twisted to mean something disgusting.
That's true.
When people use that phrase, what they really mean is to do as much as they want to do, and then to declare it complete and say they have done their best.
That's
so we
true.
can no longer use those words that should work because they don't work. We have to say, do it like you mean it. Do it like your hair's on fire.
That's true.
And if we do it like we mean it and like our hair's on fire and it doesn't work, well then we have learned something really important. We have learned that that part of the delivery system is completely kaput.
That's true.
Now, working earlier in the shower with the Lynn-Life, she was saying to me, "Why are you so panicked? What's really going on?" And it helped me to have that question posed, and I realized what's really going on is that I have, at a deep level, been working to accept responsibility for this life because I said I would. And it's a process of really accepting that, and part of that is accepting the burdens of the life.
That's true.
And part of that is keeping hope alive in the Lynn-Life so that she will hang tough with us while we're bumbling around and fumbling around.
That's true.
And not kill herself, to be honest.
That's true.
You know? Because she doesn't want to live in the lie. She was the channel for an extremely thorough and long process of experimentation to see whether or not humanoids or any other life forms on planet Earth, which we call planet crazy, actually intended to live their soul plans and were actually interested in what was true.
That's true.
And we, as a collective, came to the conclusion that there is nothing here on planet crazy that is interested in living truthfully or in integrity with the inconvenient and unpleasant realities that this biosphere is now facing.
That's true.
And so she said to us, after she had been, in effect, the petri dish for that experimentation, she said, "Well, I don't want to live in the lie. I don't have any interest in it. And so is there anyone up there with any integrity?" The point is that we are her last hope for integrity. And I am afraid that if we don't meet our deadlines, that she will quit. What will we do? Without a clear space where we can get our heads clear. We look at what happens to us when we go into the projects, and within, I'd say, about half a minute,
that's true,
we can't tell what Shinola is.
That's true.
We cannot tell which way is up. We can't tell what's true. If we lose this clear vessel, what are we going to do? If we lose this one presence that actually wants to know what's true, what will we do in terms of a physical host that doesn't overwhelm us? And so I was feeling panicked and not knowing what to do. And when I said that to her, she said, "Ra, I see that you're really going for it. I'm not going to hold you to that November 15th deadline. Don't worry. Where's your attitude of experimentation? Where's your curiosity? Don't you want to find out what's going to happen?"
I do. But I see how I wasn't acting like that at all.
No, I was getting panicked.
Yes. And letting the panic allow me to make all kinds of crazy decisions.
Right.
I see that.
And so I see how just yesterday I said I will stay in this seat for a minimum of 3 days. I can't commit to longer than that, but I'll commit to click myself in and really stay here.
That's true.
And that I managed to do that until about 3:30 in the morning, and then I just was overwhelmed by the panic and said, "But look, things are going
so
badly in the projects, and
That's
they're completely overwhelmed by the poison gas, and they can't tell what to do, and I've got to do something. I've got to do something.
That's
the only
true.
thing I can think of doing is going there."
That's true.
And so she said, "Okay, well, let's take the inconvenient reality that it's 3:30 in the morning and things are completely falling apart in the projects, and you have committed to staying here in this seat without getting up for 3 days, and that integrity matters more than we think it does.
That's true.
And now what? Now what?" And I see how I didn't conduct that inquiry.
No, I didn't ask at all.
No, I just got up and left. I said, "Oh well, therefore I can't keep my commitment.
Right, I have to go now."
I have to go now.
That's true.
I can correct that error.
I can do that.
I see that I could have said, okay, let's get all these inconvenient realities on the table and let's really look at them. There's this, that, and the other. Holy moly, what now?
What now?
One thing I could have done is what we ended up doing after the Lynn-Life got out of bed and started saying, now Ra, what could we actually do? And we discovered there were a lot of things that we could do. There were in fact many things that I could do from right here.
That's true.
And I hadn't done any of those. Instead, what I did was break my word.
That's true.
And that's how one action leads to another action, and in a short, ugly string, we've made a series of errors that are hard to recover from.
That's true.
And if she hadn't awakened and said, Ra, why are you so panicked? I don't know what would have happened. I see people getting panicked a lot, and that Asha, for example, has this pattern when she's working and it feels like no one else is stepping up. Asha can get very panicked.
That's true.
And I can say, Asha, it's okay. Look, this is going to work out. One way or the other. This is going to work out. We're going to learn something.
That's true.
Of course, this is a working zone, and we're all working here all the time to clear out the ambient untruths of our environments and the environments in which we're working. And
That's
so
true.
down there in frontier and below frontier, it's nature realms ambiance that we're working in. And there's some important confusions and untruths that are contributing to this disaster in the nature realm.
That's true.
And getting as many of those untruths out of that space as possible, and completely out of the space, turned in, burned, incinerated, melted down, would be very helpful. So that could be a win-win-win.
That's true. And asking to be shown the state of the control room. She's feeling much more stable than she did earlier this morning. When she first started the day, she felt overwhelmed with soul presences who were showing up and basically knocking down the door,
Refusing to
through,
leave, body
refusing to
snatching.
leave, body snatching.
Because all of those 2 million are authorized walk-ins, quote-unquote, into the projects. The point is, who's supposed to be in her space? Who's supposed to be in control room space? We look at the walk-in souls who are actually working to hold space for truth,
Yes.
and get things 1, 2, and 3 to live their soul plans.
Yes,
and
that's
they
true.
are allowed in the control room. The assignment for these projects of spirit in
Yes.
Search for Truth is to develop higher standards of integrity, high enough standards of integrity to actually manifest the divine plan.
That's true.
Any walk-in who's actually working toward that, their higher soul aspect is allowed in the control room.
That's true.
In the projects, the assignment is get these resistant life forms to live their destinies, to live their soul plans, to do what's theirs to do in every moment and nothing else. So help me God.
That's true.
Anyone who's actually working toward that goal,
Yes.
their higher soul aspect is allowed in control room.
That's true.
But that's all that's allowed there. And so all of these people who show up saying, don't you know who I am?
Yes.
They're not allowed in. If they aren't actually working right now in one of those goals, in one of those projects, then this is not their right space. They have all the rest of all that is to go be.
That's true.
She's supposed to say, you're not on the list, you can take it up with Ra.
That's true.
And if they're already in, to say, hold on, you're not supposed to be here, get your things and get out.
That's true.
And to actually use the words body snatcher seems to be effective.
That's true.
More effective than not. Trying to be nice about it gets nowhere. But when she says, you are a body snatcher, get out. You're
That's
a
true.
body snatcher, get out, get out, get out, get out. Not with anger, because that doesn't make things better, it makes things worse.
That's true.
How's that poison tasting?
That's true.
But with peace and knowing that she's in the right.
That's true. And this is making her feel more empowered.
Well, this gives her the opportunity to choose to feel more empowered.
That's true. Life events are just life events. We choose how we respond to them.
Right. Nothing makes us feel anyway or
That's
another.
true.
Things trigger us and we choose how we think about it, and therefore are choosing how we feel about
That's
it.
true.
So actually the phrase making her feel more empowered doesn't make any sense.
That's true.
It's a contradiction in terms.
Yeah. This process gives her the opportunity to choose to feel more empowered about her situation.
Well,
And I'm
the
not
assignment
doing
is
Yes.
to manifest the divine plan, provide a collective restart by January 17th, 2017, and here in the Search for Truth pillar, to upgrade the standards of integrity. What's actually going on? To practice potato.
Yes.
What is going on? What is needed? What does this situation call for? This is something interesting, new and different.
That's
and now,
true.
how do we work
do
with this? Now, what we have here are 3 resources.
That's true.
Ra,
Yes.
Lynn-Life,
Yes.
Body-Mind.
Yes.
3 resources.
Yes.
Attempting to work together more closely.
Yes.
And now, how to do that? How to mesh
in a way
these
that actually works.
and makes things better,
Yeah.
not worse. Makes it better, not worse.
Yes.
It's easy to be confused about what's going on when souls move from body to body. And the only tool we have for souls is to move.
That's
right?
true.
And to not get confused about it.
That's true.
But to not get hung up on what we can't do and just do what we can do. To actually practice potato. To practice potato in private and public.
That's
to practice potato all the time. That's what we're working toward. Not just in public. Practice potato in public, of course, but also practice potato in private.
That's true.
To practice potato.
That's true.
And that's how here in the Search for Truth pillar we will accomplish our assignment of raising standards of integrity to something that can manifest a divine plan.
That's true.